If you're not able to see, then you're gonna need to move somewhere where you can see what's being written. We will talk about a summary of each act after we read each of them. And since we just completed Act 1, we're going to summarize what we read. Now, this is going to be a summary. This is not a detailed version of what happened. So keep that in mind. So you're titling this Act 1 Summary. And again, if you're not able to see, get somewhere you can see. What day does the play start? Sunday. The play starts on Sunday, so let's put Sunday morning. That's important because I told you the whole play occurs over a course of 4 to 5 days. And by the time we get to the end, you're going to be like, Dad, that was only 4 days, all that happened? Yeah. So Sunday morning, we are introduced to Samson and Abram. Samson and Abram are walking through the streets of Verona. Walking through the streets of Verona, and they're talking trash about the Montagues. These are two Capulets. They're talking about cutting off the heads of the Montague men and assaulting the Montague women. So,
beating them up?
Raping them.
Oh, sexually. Oh, cool.
Samson and Gregory.
Jesus.
They see two Montagues coming. And what is the obscene gesture? One of them bites his thumb. Samson bites his thumb. That is like giving somebody the middle finger or cursing at them. He's trying to provoke them into anger. So Samson bites his thumb, and then the men fight. They start fighting. We have Samson and Gregory on the Capulet side, Abram and Balthazar. We're going to see Balthazar later on. Abram and Balthazar on the Montague side. Who comes to break up the fight? Benvolio. Benvolio breaks it up. Benvolio breaks up the fight and says the prince has expressly forbid fighting in Verona streets. But that doesn't do much good because here comes big bad Tybalt. Tybalt threatens who? Tybalt. Tybalt threatens to kill Benvolio. Let's call him Ben. Tybalt threatens to kill Benvolio, and they all start fighting again. Then Capulet, Lord Capulet hears about the fighting, and he rushes out and says, "Give me my sword." And what does his wife say?
You need a cane.
You're like, man, go sit down your old time self. You need a crutch. You need a cane. You're old. Same thing for Montague. His wife, Lady Montague tries to stop him from fighting, but that doesn't deter them at all. So all the citizens of Verona are fighting now. Everybody's fighting. Everybody fights. And then Prince Aeschylus comes. And he says, how many times have they been fighting recently?
3.
Yes. 3 times. Prince warns the citizens that your lives shall pay the forfeit of the peace. That means if you continue fighting like you have been, then I am going to punish someone with death. Or it could mean if you keep fighting, somebody's eventually going to die. That's an example of foreshadowing because we know this doesn't end well for several people. The prince warns them. The crowds disperse. Prince tells Capulet, come with me now to get your punishment. Montague, you come later on to get your punishment. Now who's left? Who's left in the streets? We got Benvolio. Benvolio,
Samson.
Lady Montague, and Montague.
What?
So after the crowds disperse, we go to Benvolio, Lady Montague, and Montague. Lady Montague asked Benvolio who started this fray, who started this fight. Does Benvolio tell a lie? Nope. Benvolio tells exactly what happens because he's kind, he's honest, he is good. And then they say, have you seen Romeo? So Romeo is Romeo is melancholy. He's very melancholy. What does melancholy mean?
Sad.
Romeo is sad. Why is Romeo sad?
Because
He's been rejected. All right? His heart has been rejected. The girl he loves, and what's her name? Rosalind don't want him. Rosalind is going to be a nun. She's dedicating her life to the Lord. She's not worried about men. She's not having no babies. She's going to go live in a nunnery, and she is going to work for God. So that makes Romeo very upset because he realizes he can never be with her. All right? Benvolio promises to do what?
find a female.
Yep. To make him smile. Benvolio promises to make Romeo happy. How is he going to do that? By making Romeo forget about Rosalind and get another girl. Does Romeo believe that that will happen?
No.
No, he does not. That's the end of scene 1. Scene 2, darlings, the scene changes to the Capulet house. We have Capulet, we have Paris, and we have the servant. What's the servant's name? Peter. Capulet, Paris, and the servant. Paris asks for permission to marry Juliet. Paris wants to wed I'm gonna just call her Jew. Paris wants to wed Juliet. Does Capulet say, of course, yes?
No.
Capulet says no. She has not seen the change of 14 years. Wait, how long? He tells him to wait 2 more summers, and then we'll see if she's ready. And Paris is like, well, wait a minute. When you married your wife, she was only 12 years old. And then Capulet says, yeah, I probably married her too early because now she got a bad attitude. That's kind of what the exchange is between them.
Great.
So he tells Paris, come to the party that I'm having tonight. So Capulet is having a party. Capulet's party. Come to the party tonight. I'll allow you to talk to Juliet, and we will see if she likes you. And then we'll go from there. All right? I'm not saying yes, but I'm not necessarily saying no. Capulet turns to Peter. Yes. Capulet's party. Wed. Paris wants to wed Juliet. Wed. And then we know that Capulet is having a party. That night is still Sunday. So that night they're going to get ready for the party. Capulet turns to his servant Peter. Take this guest list, go to these people's houses, and tell them to come to my party tonight. Peter is frantic because what? Peter can't read. Poor little Peter cannot read. He walks around in the streets looking for somebody to help him. He runs into Benvolio and Romeo. And then Peter says, can you read? They have a little exchange. And then Romeo reads the guest list. Romeo finds out about the party. He finds out that Rosalind is going to be there. And then they decide to crash the Capulet party. Romeo and Ben decide to crash the party. Romeo and Benvolio, they're going to crash the party. I believe that is the end of scene 2. Scene 3. We switch over to Juliet, the nurse, and the mom. Juliet, the nurse, and Lady Capulet. The only point of this scene is really to introduce us to the nurse and the relationship that the nurse and Juliet had. So, Lady C, Capulet, that's supposed to be Lady Capulet, the nurse, and Juliet are getting ready for the party. Are getting ready for the party. Lady Capulet asked Juliet, have you ever thought about getting married? Juliet says, I have never really thought about it. I'm just chilling in the castle, being cute. Lady Capulet says, there's a man who is interested in you. Lady Capulet is very excited about Paris wanting to marry Juliet, and so is the nurse. The nurse says, a man, a lady, yay, a man. So they start talking about Juliet's age and how old she is, and that's when we find out her birthday is coming up in a fortnight. We find out that her birthday is on Lammas Eve. What's the date of Lammas Eve? Well, Lammas Tide is August 1st, but July 31st. Very good. That's Juliet's birthday. She will be 14 years old. The nurse tells this long, drawn-out story about her daughter. What's her daughter's name? Her daughter's name is Susan. She says Susan has been dead for 11 years. And so that means Susan died when she was around 2 or 3 years old, because Juliet is about to be 14. Her and Susan are the same age. So you're going to be asked that question. What is the nurse's daughter's name? All right, you need to know it was Susan. Susan and Juliet were the same age. Susan has now passed.
Do we know why?
We don't know why. Then a servant comes in and tells them, hey, people are downstairs looking for y'all. Come on, Paris is here. It's time to go. So all of them go to the party. That is the end of scene 3. That's it. Scene 3 really just introduced you to the nurse. Scene 4 switches to Romeo, Benvolio, Mercutio, all of their friends, walking down the street, going to the party. They are late. The feast has already started. They've already had their food. Now the people at the party are about to start dancing. Romeo, Mercutio, and Benvolio and all their friends are walking down the street talking. They know that Romeo is sad, so Mercutio is trying to cheer him up. Mercutio and the nurse are very similar characters, very inappropriate, silly, comic relief. All right, so this is when Mercutio delivers what? What speech? The queen what? Oh no! I told y'all you had to remember that. Mercutio gives the Queen Mab speech. Queen Mab. Queen Mab, they talk about her as if she is a fairy who visits people when they are asleep. She goes into their brains, looks at what they're dreaming, and she can even change the dreams around, kind of. So Queen Mab is I think he calls her the fairy's midwife. Mercutio is talking about dreams. The way they got started on this is because Romeo said that he had a dream. He feels kind of funny about going to the party because he's having bad dreams like he might die early. That's another example of foreshadowing. We know that Romeo's going to die early. So the whole point of this scene is for us to be introduced to Mercutio and how much Mercutio cares about Romeo because he's trying to cheer him up, and the Queen Mab speech. All right? So Mercutio, Queen Mab speech. It's all about dreams. And then Romeo talks about an untimely death. Romeo talks about an untimely death. He's going to die before his time. That's it for scene 4. Scene 5, we are at the party. Now, how is it that all of these Montagues are getting in the party? What are they wearing on their faces?
Masks.
They are wearing masks. So, as soon as Romeo gets in the party, Romeo sees Juliet. Romeo immediately falls in love with Juliet. It's love at first sight. He says, "Oh, did my heart love until now?" He's totally forgotten about Rosalind. Just that quick.
Wow.
falls in love with Juliet because he sees her across the room, and he says she is as beautiful as a jewel in an Ethiop's ear. We know that the continent of Africa is very rich in jewels and diamonds and all the rubies and things in the ground. So he's comparing Juliet to a very rare, very expensive jewel. While Romeo is looking at her across the room, talking about how beautiful she is, Tybalt hears his voice. And Tybalt says, "That's Romeo, a Montague." He turns and says, "Fetch me my rapier, boy." He tells his servant to get his sword. He's planning on killing Romeo right there. All right? So Tybalt plans to kill Romeo. Tybalt plans to kill Romeo when he hears his voice. Lord Capulet sees Tybalt is upset. He goes over to him and he said, "What's wrong with you, man?" And he said, "That's Romeo, a Montague. He has come to scorn at our solemnity tonight," something like that. Basically saying that Romeo has come to crash the party, mess up the party, make fun of them, all of that. What does Capulet say? How does he feel about Romeo? Capulet says, "Don't leave Romeo alone." He has respect for Romeo. Capulet says, "I hear that Romeo is a well-mannered, respectful, kind person. All the people of Verona talk about him." That's important for us to think about. So Capulet respects Romeo. I know that we talked about them being star-crossed lovers. That means that their destiny has already been decided for them. But if we think about, after we get through the play, we're going to go back and think about some of the decisions that Romeo and Juliet make and how that could have changed their lives. Yes?
When it says just Capulet, is that the Lord Capulet?
Yes, I should have clarified that. So anytime I say just Capulet, I'm talking about the dad. That's Lord Capulet. I'll start saying Lord Capulet and Lord Montague. So Lord Capulet respects Romeo. He tells Tybalt to leave him alone. "I've already gotten in trouble with the prince earlier today. And if you mess with Romeo in my house, the whole town will be looking down on me because I let it happen. So leave him alone." Romeo doesn't know any of this going on, right? Romeo's looking at that girl. He's walking around the room trying to get close to Juliet. So Tybalt says, "Okay, uncle, I'll respect what you say, but I'm not going to forget this. I'm going to remember what Romeo did. That's going to be important in Act 2. So now, Romeo gets over to Juliet, lays some smack down on her, tell her how beautiful she is, and then Juliet, "If I'm over here moving, why does the light on?" All right, so Juliet immediately falls in love with Romeo. All right? He talk a good game. Told y'all Romeo is a lover, not a fighter. Juliet is in love with Romeo. How many times do they kiss? Twice. Like I said, just imagine if a boy came over to you that you've never seen before, and he just said, "Give me a kiss, girl." That's basically what Romeo did. And she kissed him 2 times. Juliet is now in love with Romeo. That's what happened with me and Denzel. Denzel came right. One day Denzel watched her go come in this room, and I'm going to show y'all that that's my... Okay, fine. All right, so Romeo and Juliet are now in love. But guess what? They don't even know each other's names. They don't know their last names. They know nothing about each other. They have not seen each other before. This is a time where young girls live very sheltered lives. They didn't go out and stuff. So nobody's seen Juliet before.
Are you able to zoom it in or no?
Zoom in? Huh?
Are you able to or no?
What you need me
to that side. Well, not. I'm sorry. Never mind.
So I can read something for you. Which one? This Lord Cappy.
The C. What is that?
Tybalt.
As up there.
Susan.
Her daughter, the nurse's daughter.
Yes, Susan is the nurse's daughter.
Okay.
That's what you need.
I do not have my glasses. I can't.
Okay. All right, so Romeo and Juliet, they fall in love with each other. And then it's very late Sunday night. Remember, this is Sunday. Still very late. The party is now over. People are tired. Lord Capulet start putting folks out of his house. As people are walking out, before that, I'm sorry, Juliet's mother calls for her. So the nurse comes and says, Juliet, your mama wants you. Juliet goes to talk to her mama, and then Romeo asks the nurse, what is her name? And the nurse says, that's Juliet, Capulet. She's the daughter of the man's house that you're in. Anybody who will marry her will lay hold of the chinks. That means Juliet and her family have a whole lot of money. And whoever marries her is very lucky. So the nurse is being kind of messy, talking about how much money they got. And then Romeo realizes that he has fallen in love with his enemy. And he is very, very sad about that. Yeah.
You know why they don't like each other? Like, Capulet and like.
We'll never find out why they don't like each other. We don't know. We just know they hate each other. No one ever revealed. Shakespeare never revealed why they hate each other.
Didn't they say like they hate each other in the story?
No, they
About
never
a
did.
woodpecker or something like that? It was broken. Am I tripping? Am I tripping?
No, we don't know why they hate each other. I don't know. I don't remember.
If nobody knows, you don't know.
Nobody knows. And then when Romeo finds out that Juliet is a Capulet, he says, my only love, wait, does Juliet say that? My only love sprung from my only hate. I think that's Romeo. And then, as Romeo is leaving, Juliet asks the nurse, who is that? The nurse goes to find out who he is, because the nurse doesn't know either. She comes back and says, that's Romeo, Montague. And then Juliet says, my wedding bed, I'm messing up the quotes. Something about her deathbed being her wedding bed, meaning she's never going to get married if he is a Montague, because she's in love with him and she knows she can't marry him. So they are already in love with each other. Romeo leaves the house, and that is the end of Act 1. All right, we're on Sunday night. Act 1 ends on Sunday night. Very late.
Wait, that's all in one day?
All in one day.
Wait, no, you're in love and literally actually
Yes,
one
as
day.
soon as they meet each other. And he was loving some other girl. Romeo ain't faithful. A mess.
Oh my god.
A mess.
Who would do that?
Who would do
Romeo.
Romeo?
On a Sunday night.
All right. So, any questions about any of this? Now, keep in mind, this is just a summary, y'all. There are much more details that you need to know about the things that happen, like information about Susan. You need to know how many times the prince warns them. So just keep that in mind. This is just a summary, and we'll do this after every act that we read.
Okay, great.
Okay? Sorry for my handwriting. It'll get better. I'm going to post this